56 Orchard Avenue. Here once again, almost 3 years. And let's read this into the record. This is the lawyer's letter on the proposed reason for this public hearing. This request, we have reviewed the proposed amendments to Woodbury zoning identified in the attachment memorandum dated July 31st, 2013.
No, you can't. You cannot. Doesn't matter if he's 100% wrong.
No,
You cannot interrupt
you
him.
commented to the driver gentleman.
You may
Why
not.
can I not
You may
tell
not.
you more?
From time to time, I clarify for the sake of the record, like I did with Martha Dean's son. It's my job to get stuff on the record,
I can't
not to
clarify.
interrupt the guy who's
I
testifying.
can't clarify for the record that what was sent to the attorney is factually inaccurate, and what he's reading is.
It doesn't matter.
Actually,
As you know,
No,
that was what was sent. Is that what was reviewed by planning?
Yes,
Regardless of what you wanted.
yes,
And
I have to agree.
the reason it was so disorganized is the way you people went around that night and made this proposal. So once again, instead of thoughtfully taking it up under advisement and reviewing it, the whole commission, and stating specifically what it was in public, we have another probable delay. As you know, I have provided several letters and memorandum to the zoning commission and staff over the past 3 years regarding the constitutionality of proposed regulations of political signs, and refer you generally to that prior correspondence. The proposed amendment to section 7540 containing the definition of political signs seems to be acceptable. It narrows the definition from what currently exists. The proposed amendment to section 7510I is problematic. It is internally inconsistent, or at least confusing. The exception of political signs from size or time, or any other potential manner in which those signs may be regulated. More significantly, the sign contradicts the first sentence, which suggests there are no time restrictions. It is also ambiguous as to what, if any, restriction applies to political signs that do not state an event. It is likely that the intent to refer to the election at which the measure or candidate is to be voted upon, but the language is unclear. Even if the proposed wording of the amendment to section 7510I were typed, I believe there may be legitimate arguments that keeping a sign which fits within the proposed new definition of political sign in place long after the election is passed could construe to constitute protected political speech, as, for example, the protest against various candidates' views of position. In addition, the 7-day time restriction is open to challenge as arbitrary and not being the most narrowly tailored method of achieving an allegedly legitimate government purpose, and therefore would not be upheld. Please feel free to contact me if you have any additional questions. And once again, the lawyers come back, what you passed is not going to pass muster. The Planning Commission voted it down. If you sent it to the Council of Governments on Central Norfolk Valley, they would have probably said the same thing. So here we are once again with a public hearing on political signs. All you people have to do is remove any restrictions. As I've said in the past numerous times, they were up for the month of October and the first week in November till election day. It came down the day after. Both Lou DeLuca and the chair of the Democratic Town Committee has, and I apologize, I've forgotten the name. Lisa Peters, I'm sorry, Lisa, have stated the same thing. So, and this did start with Martha Dean signs being stated that they were billboards. A billboard is something that you see on I-84. Those signs were by 8, okay? never any bigger than that. There were 4x8 signs in Woodbury, a Drinkley sign which finally fell down across from the charcoal chef. It was bigger than that, or at least as big. The charcoal chef signs are as big as that. And the very first letter said, you can't discriminate if you have legal commercial signs bigger, you do the same thing with the political signs. Therefore, the whole thing is really mute. What we asked you is do a simple thing. It was just expressing our freedom of speech. And it's gone on for nearly 3 years. What do we have to ask you people to do? To do the commonsensical thing. And the signs will go away. Absolutely. Now, Martin's may not go away until November. And Martin is now running for selectman.
Can you stay within the
Oh,
confines?
yes, I'm sorry.
If you don't want.
No, but I can't say for that
Because
sign.
Tom's also running.
I know, I can't say for that sign. But what I'm trying to say is this. We've been here. We've asked you.
Can I ask you a question?
Surely.
You read the legal opinion.
Yes.
What do you understand by the term allegedly legitimate government purpose in the last line?
You have played with words over the last 2 years.
I'm looking for since you have been very helpful, and I really mean that, in the debate, what is an allegedly legitimate government purpose is actually at the very core of the discussion. The very core. Because governments across the country have exercised a legitimate right not to have signs in general, just mess up the town, and that's what they've used. There is a legitimate government interest, especially since we have a historic district, in controlling, to some degree, acceptable to the public, all signs, regardless of content. So I'm asking you to respond to me. What do you understand by legitimate government purpose?
A legitimate government purpose is anything that doesn't restrict your right of free speech. And political signs come under free speech. Therefore, it's not a legitimate thing to regulate free speech.
Despite the fact that it's been established across the country by hundreds of jurisdictions.
I don't know about that one. Several places throughout the United States, people have put up signs and kept them up for years, expressing opinions about various presidents.
Yes.
Okay?
No debate.
Since you just asked him a direct question, Art, can you remain seated for a second?
Sure.
Since you've just asked him a direct question on something on what he has read, I would like to ask him a direct question on what he's read.
Okay. It's all right with me.
Okay? Would your interpretation of this letter be different if you realize that, unfortunately, the communication that was sent to the attorney and to the planning commission, unfortunately, and I'll take the full blame for it, was wrong? What should have been sent to the attorney was just the first part of that clause, what you read out of that letter, which was the size, the time restraints, and political signs are exempt.
What you're asking me to do is comment on something that didn't happen.
I understand that, that's my fault, and I apologize.
Number one. Number two is, since it's embedded in this opinion, I would not want to venture an opinion. You got it from the lawyers, it could go to contest.
Thank you. Anybody else? Sean first and then Tom.